Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In today's tutorial we're going to be making these super cute festive cup cozies. Today I'm going to be making the red one. To be using red yarn, but you can use whichever colors you would like. Let's go ahead and get into the materials. Okay, so depending on which cozy you're making, you're going to need red, white, green, and brown yarn for the trunk of our tree. We're going to need a 4.0 hook, a threading needle, a stitch marker, and a pair of scissors. To start the cup cozy, we're working from the bottom of the cozy and up. So we're going to make a magic ring and work 10 half double crochet into the magic ring. So to do a half double crochet, you will yarn over, go into the magic ring and this little, the loose end right here. So yarn over, go into our magic loop, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook, and that is our first half double crochet. So we need 9 more. Yarn over, go into the magic ring, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. So I will meet you once I have 10 half double crochets. Okay, so here we have 10. We're going to close our magic ring by pulling on this loose end and holding onto our work. So now we're going to connect into the first half double crochet by doing 1 half double crochet into it. So yarn over. So let's go into our first half double crochet and do 1 half double crochet. For round 2, we're going to do half double crochet increase all the way around, and that just means 2 half double crochet into every single stitch. So we're going to do 1 more into the exact same stitch we just did our half double crochet into. So just 1 more. Then you can grab your stitch marker and place it into the first half double crochet we made. So that was our first increase. So now we're going to go into the next stitch and do 2 half double crochet into there also. That was our first one. Here's our second, and just repeat this all the way around. I will meet you once I have 20 half double crochets. That is what you should end with. Okay, here we are at the end of round 2. You can take off your stitch marker, and round 3 we're going to do 1 half double crochet and then 1 half double crochet increase. So we're going to do our first half double crochet right here, 1, and then 1 half double crochet increase into the next stitch. So that's just 2 half double crochets into that same stitch. That was our first. Here is our second. You can grab your stitch marker and place it on the very first half double crochet of round 3, and we're just repeating this pattern around. 1 half double crochet and then 2 half double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, here we are at the end of round 3. Rounds 4 through 15 we're just half double crocheting all the way around. No increases or anything, just regular half double crochet into every single stitch. And don't forget to use your stitch marker, because it can be easy to lose your spot since you're just repeating the same thing over and over. And as you're working, your project will start to go up and sort of form into a cup shape on its own. So I will meet you after round 15. Okay, so I just finished round 15. I cut off my yarn, so now we can just pull this little loop out and weave in this end. I decided to go in with white for the last 2 rounds just because I wanted to see what it would look like with more white instead of green. You don't have to do this. This was just personal preference. I wanted to test something. You can just work in the same color the entire time. So I'm going to do this little border part with this Premier Teddy yarn just because I want to see how it looks. You can of course keep using acrylic yarn. I'm just going to demonstrate this process with this yarn. Use whatever you're comfortable with. We have to cut off a super long tail that will reach all the way around your cup cozy. So I don't really measure it out. I just eyeball it, and then I fold it in half because there are 2 strands going into every single little stitch. This is how long my tail is. I'm not sure if that'll be enough, so I'm going to pull out just a little bit extra more just in case. Okay, so this is how long my tail is. Again, folded in half. I think this should be enough. And I just cut it off to where they're the same length. And you can attach these two right at the back. I would attach from the inside, that way the ends can be here on the inside, sort of like this. And then I'm just going to make a few knots with both of the strands in my hand, just like this. This is just what I'm doing. If you know a better way to attach the yarn that isn't as noticeable, you can do that. I'm just doing this just because it's good enough for me. I'm not going to be selling this item. So I made about 3 knots. So now this little end I'm going to weave in here on the insides. I'll be right back. Weaving it wherever I think is good enough. So, and then maybe I'll go back just a little. Okay, and then we can cut the excess off. Okay, so now our super long tail is connected. You're going to find the beginning right here and just thread it through your needle. You can tie it also just to make sure it doesn't come out. I just pull out a little extra. That way if it starts slipping, I can catch it in time. And we're going to start from the back and go around the front and then meet right back here in the middle. So to start the border, you're going to come out from the bottom of our project and out on top in order to make this. And you're going to use the last 2 rows to do this. Second to last row right here, row 14. We're going to go in between the half double crochets. That is what I found looks best. So here's the half double crochet. In between is right here. You see this big old space. So instead of going through that space, I'm going to go right under this little red stitch. Just this one, not the entire stitch, just this one. Go in right here, out through the back, pull your tail through. It's really long, so it might get a bit tangled. Keep an eye out. And you don't want to pull super tight because it'll just cinch up your project. All right, so here's our first one. It looks a bit weird with this different textured yarn, but your first strands should sort of look like this. And then we're just gonna keep going all the way around. So again, we're going from the bottom out on top. So go in between the next half double crochet, which is right here. Right here. From the bottom out on top. Pull out your tail. You can kind of move it with your fingers to adjust. There is your second one. Here's a half double. We're going right in between. So right here, pull your tail all the way through. Don't pull it super tight. I'm going to adjust it. It's a bit close to the last stitch. There you go. I'll do one more with you. Here's the half double crochet going in between. So right here, pull your tail, and there is your 4th little border stitch. And you're just going to repeat this all the way around. So I will meet you once I have come back to the middle of the back of our project. Okay, so I've just made it back all the way across, and this is how much of my tail I have left. So I cut off just the perfect amount. So now we just sort of weave this end in. You can, so we have to weave it into the inside. You can just weave it in directly here, or you can do one last little loop. Whatever you think would look better on your project. Since this is sort of a fuzzy yarn, you won't be able to tell. So I'm just gonna go do one more loop to the inside and then start weaving in my end. Again, just going in and out wherever you want. Just make sure it doesn't show up here on the front of the project. Then you can just cut off your yarn and then we can start on the snowflake. Okay, so here's what my project is looking like with the fuzzy yarn after making our border and weaving it in. I think it turned out super cute. It's reminding me of Santa Claus. So for our snowflake, we're gonna need white yarn, and I'm not gonna lie, this was pretty hard to make because it's so small. And it was just really annoying to see the stitches. So I'm going to try to explain this as best as I can. If you're just not getting it, I would just look up another tutorial for a snowflake, because there are a bunch more that are bigger and more detailed than mine, so I'm sorry if this is a bit difficult for you. It was difficult for me. So let's get started. Okay, so again, we're going to need our 2.5 hook for the snowflake, and we're going to make a magic ring and chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to do 1 single crochet into the magic ring. So go into the magic ring, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both. That is 1 single crochet. Now we're going to chain 1 and repeat this 5 more times. Single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1. This is our first one, so we need to do this only 4 more times actually. So single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1. I believe that was our 4th one. So this is our 5th and final one. Single crochet, chain 1. So we can double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we can pull our magic ring close by pulling on this loose thread right here. And then we're going to connect to the bottom of this chain with a slip stitch. This was a chain 3. So here's the first chain, 1, 2, and the third one is right here. So to slip stitch, go into the stitch, pull up a loop, and instead of yarning over, we're just going to immediately pull through the loop on our hook like that. And that is a slip stitch. So now we're going to slip stitch into this little chain 1 hole, which may be hard to see, but if you pull your work, you can sort of see it. Right here is where we chained 1. So slip stitch into that little hole and chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to do 3 single crochet into that little hole. So 1, 2, 3. Chain 2. Now we're going over to the next chain 1 hole, which is right here. It's going to be in between our single crochets. So right here we're going to do 4 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, chain 3. And we're just going to do this into every single chain 1 space. So let's find our next chain 1 space right here. 4 single crochet into it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain 2. That was our third. Next chain 1 space is right here. 4 single crochet into it. 2, 3, 4. Chain 2. We're going to end with 6 little clusters. So our next one is right here. Single crochet 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain 2. And our last little space is right here. Single crochet 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain 2, and then we're going to connect to the top of the chain 2 from the beginning of our round. So these are our single crochets. Our chain is right here. So right here is the top of our chain. Slip stitch into that. There you go. And you should have 6 little clusters. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to chain 1. This is round 3. We're going to slip stitch into the middle of our single crochet 4. So at the beginning of round 2, we did single crochet 3 because we did a chain of 2 that counted as a single crochet. And all the other little clusters, we did single crochet 4. So right here we're going to go in between the 2 single crochets and then a single crochet and chain, which counts as a fake single crochet. So just find the middle. We're not going into this top of any stitches. We're going directly into the middle, just sort of like this. So just find where you think is the middle and just go into it wherever the hook falls. Pull up a loop and we're slip stitching into that. So just pull your yarn through. Then we're going to chain 1 and then slip stitch into this little hole right here. All our chain 2s from round 2. Slip stitch into that. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to slip stitch again into this little hole. Now for round 3, we're going to be forming all these little pointed parts of the snowflake. So slip stitch. This is the part where it gets a little bit tricky. Now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to chain 5, sorry. 5. Slip stitch again into that same hole. Okay. Now we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, slip stitch into this hole. You can sort of move these little points over just by pulling. Slip stitch. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slip stitch into the hole. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch into the hole. That is our last little point for this first cluster. As you can see, we have our little point starting to form, and we're going to do this for a total of 6 times since we have little 6 holes right here. So let's repeat this again. We're going to slip stitch into the middle of the 4 single crochet. So right here would be the middle. Go into it, slip stitch, chain 1. Now we have to get into this little hole to do our next point. So slip stitch into that hole. And now we're going to start all these little chains and slip stitches. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch into the hole. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slip stitch into the hole. Chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Slip stitch into the hole, and now we're just going back down because this is the peak. So now we're going to go back down by doing chain 5 slip stitch and chain 3 slip stitch. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, slip stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, into the hole and slip stitch. And that is the end of our second little cluster. Okay, so I'll repeat this one more time with you on camera, and then I will meet you after we have done all 6 sides. So again, we have to get to this next little hole. So we have to slip stitch into the middle of these 4 single crochet. So right here, slip stitch, chain 1. Now we're going to slip stitch into the hole, slip stitch, and now we're going to start making all these points again. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the hole, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, slip stitch into the hole, chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, into the hole, slip stitch. Okay, so that was the peak. Now we're going to go back down. So chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, slip stitch, and chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the hole. There's our third point of our snowflake. So we are halfway done now. Let's do the last 3, and I will meet you right back so we can connect the snowflake. Okay, so I just finished the last slip stitch of the 6th and final snowflake point. So to connect all of this into one, we're going to go through the middle of these 4 single crochet right here, just like we have been before. Again, slip stitch, and you can finally cut off your yarn, cut off a long tail, because we're going to weave this in onto our cup cozy. Or if you're lazy and tired, your hands are cramping after making this snowflake just like mine are, you can just glue it on. So do whatever you want. As you can see here, the magic circle started opening up just from all the work we were doing. So you can pull it shut. As you can see, it's sort of closed up, and weave this end in so it doesn't open up too much, or you can make a few knots, whatever you would like. As you can see, it closed up and now it looks more like a real snowflake. So let me cut off my yarn and I will be right back. Okay, so if you have the exact cup you're using for this cozy, I would recommend putting the cup in your cozy and sort of just adjusting the snowflake, see where you would like it. If you're not making this for a specific cup, then you'll just have to sort of guess where you want your snowflake. Let's just put it right in the middle. I would put it a bit higher up than lower, because if it's too low, it'll be at the bottom of your cup and not really centered. When you put the cozy in, it will sort of be way down here. So I would put it a bit more towards the top, slightly higher, sort of like that. And you're just going to go in and weave your snowflake, and you're just going to go in and sew your snowflake to your cup cozy. Make sure you don't sew it to the back so then it's sewn shut. Make sure you're just going through the front part of the cup cozy right here. But now we can move on to our tree if you're making the tree cup cozy. So let's grab our green yarn. We're going to start at the top of our tree and work down. For the Christmas tree, back in with our 4.0 hook, we're going to make a chain of 2. So make a slip knot first, chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to do 2 half double crochet into the very first chain right here. So this is our first half double and this is our second. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work, and now we're going to do 2 half double crochet into each stitch. So we have 2, 1 and 2, so we should end with 4 since we're doing 2 into each one, 2 half double crochet. This is our second, 2 more in the second stitch, 1 and 2. So now we have 4 half double crochet. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now we're going to do 1 half double crochet in the first stitch and then 2 half double increases in the last 2. So let's do our first half double crochet, then 2 half double crochet into the next stitch, and then 2 more half double crochet into this very last stitch right here. So you should end with 6 half double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the last one is right here, 6. So now we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and half double crochet across. So we're doing 6 half double crochets. First one goes right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6 half double crochet goes right here. Hopefully y'all can see that. Chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to single crochet across. So 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 right here. We're going to chain 1 again, single crochet across, so 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Here's what our tree is looking like so far. And so that is it for the length of the tree. Now we're going to slip stitch all the way around the tree to make the edges look nice. So we're going to start right here on the side. There's no really specific stitches you need to go in, just wherever your hook can go or whatever seems right. So like right here, we can do a slip stitch. So to slip stitch, you will go into the stitch, bring up a loop, and instead of yarning over, you're just going to immediately pull through the loop on your hook and just do this all the way around. So the next one can go right here You can use a stitch marker to mark it if you would like. So I've done 2. So this is the first one. Right here, another slip stitch can fit. Maybe right here. Right here is a good spot. Just wherever you sort of see an opening. And right here for the top of the tree, the point, you're going to slip stitch into it, chain 1, and slip stitch into the other side of the point, but technically still in the same stitch. Slip stitch, and that is the point. Then keep going down the tree. Slip stitch could go right here. 1 maybe right here, and then right here this big hole. Okay, and then along the bottom of the tree is super easy because you just go into the half double crochet stitches and just slip stitch across. And this is where we started, so we can do 1 more. And then to connect, just go into that slip stitch and slip stitch again. Then you can cut off your yarn, leave a long tail so we can sew this onto our cup cozy. You can sort of stretch it out, and there is our tree. Okay, for the trunk, we're going to grab our brown yarn and still work in a 4.0 hook. All right, for the trunk, we're going to do a chain of 3. So make a slip knot first. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to do 1 half double crochet into the last 2 stitches. So we're going to skip the first one, do 1 half double crochet in this middle stitch, and do 1 half double crochet in that last stitch. Then we're going to chain 1 and turn. And for rounds 2 and 3, we're just single crocheting across. There's only 2 stitches. Here's the first one, and here is the second one right here. So we're just going to do 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Chain 1 and turn your work. Do this one more time, just 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Then you can cut off your work, leave a long tail so we can sew this on to our cozy. And there is your trunk. You can weave this end into the trunk. That way this end you can sew on to the back of your tree like this, or you can sew it on directly underneath, whichever look you like more, like that, or underneath your tree. And then you just sew it onto your cup cozy like so. This one I sewed the trunk directly under the tree. I didn't stick it behind the tree. And so when I'm weaving in the tree, I use the green to go around, and then when I get to the trunk, I use this end to weave in the trunk. That way there's no green popping out of the trunk. And then once you go back to finish the other side of the tree, or however you do it, switch back to the green. So you'll have to weave in these in separately. Hopefully that makes sense. And again, you can put the cup in if you have a specific cup you're using, or you can sort of just place it in the middle, guess where you want it to go. Make sure it's even and straight. Again, I would recommend placing it slightly higher than lower, because then the trunk might be on the bottom of the cup, sort of hidden like this, instead of being right on the side of the cup like so. Hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to make another cozy and sew these onto, just because you sort of get what you're supposed to do, and it's basically up to your personal preference how you want it to be on your cozy. So once you have done that, you have a completed cup cozy. I hope this was easy enough to understand. I know the tree and Snowflake were a bit small to see. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, but please be nice about it. I will block or delete any passive-aggressive rude comments because this is a free pattern. I'm doing my best here. Like I said, you could look up other tutorials for the tree and Snowflake if you don't like mine or it's a bit too difficult. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are. Bye!
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.